Hello, I'm Kathleen Chalfant, and I'm here with Elizabeth Weber. And we're here because Elizabeth is almost the youngest member of the Women's Project. Elizabeth, who is not yet 19. Many months will pass before Elizabeth is 19, and I am very old. I'm also one of the oldest members of the Women's Project because I was one of the founding members. But Elizabeth and I are connected in many ways. So I'm going to have Elizabeth introduce herself and then say some of the ways we're connected, and then I'll say some of the other ways we're connected. Oh,
Hi.
and by the way, this is all to convince you to send stacks of cash to the Women's Project because it's very, very important that it survive.
So important. My name is Elizabeth Weber. I was an intern during the Women Project's 40th season in 2018. I have also been hired as run crew for several of their productions, all of which when I was in high school. I went to LaGuardia High School for technical theater, and I got an internship with WP because their offices were rather close by. I was so excited, and it's changed my life. Now back to what Kathy was saying about our long-winded connection. Um, my grandmother is Kathy's best friend. My grandmother's name is Sybil Pearson. She's a playwright who, you're not going to jump in, never mind. She was produced by the Women's Project in one of the first ever readings. Kathy might know more on that because I wasn't alive.
No, Elizabeth wasn't alive. The play was called A Little Going Away Party, and it was Sybil's first play, and it was also the very first play read in the very first season of the Women's Project. And at the end of that reading, Sybil, who had never before had the experience of listening to a play of hers read, was on the floor under the chair. Um, it was a wonderful play. She was not a very good judge of it.
Wow.
Let Yes, as you can see, your grandmother is not very changed. She's just always been the same person, don't you think?
Yeah. Um, and you, of course, have been in many of WP's plays, haven't you? You
I
starred
have
in
been.
Dear Elizabeth.
I've been in many of WP's plays. The last one was Dear Elizabeth, and the first one was I was also at the inception of the Women's Project, the uh, casting director for many readings, and sometimes when we couldn't find somebody, I read in the readings. But I was in a play by Joan Shankar called Signs of Life, which included many characters from Henry James and an elephant woman,
Of
um,
course.
of course. So that Dr. Sloper from Henry James was the elephant woman's um, doctor. So I've been, I've been involved in the Women's Project from the beginning, from when Julia first read how and was so shocked at the minute number of women whose plays were produced. Um, and we thought then that the Women's Project would last, I don't know, a couple of years, and then we wouldn't need it anymore because people would have gotten the picture and would have noticed that there are all these wonderful women writers. And well, that isn't exactly the case. As Elizabeth said, 2 years ago was the 40th anniversary, and now.
Yeah. It's been a wild journey, and I'm very excited WP has fostered me into the theatrical professional that I am today. It's a very welcoming community, and they have always been so nice and supportive, and they're the feminist minds we really need in theater.
That's absolutely true. Thank you, Elizabeth.